Remember this?
Your BB is dead. Go get an iPhone instead. Your BB is dead. Go get an iPhone instead. We tell them B.
Well, it turns out that isn't quite the case, thanks to the launch of the BlackBerry Z10 and BlackBerry 10 operating system, both of which have been designed to claw back some of BlackBerry's former glory and, of course, silence those naysayers who think it's high time BlackBerries took their rightful place in gadget Hades. Now, it probably hasn't gone unnoticed that at first glance, the Z10 could easily be mistaken for a slightly taller and wider iPhone 5. That is, until you spot the BlackBerry logo and texturized rubber back, which makes it easier to grip than the Samsung Galaxy S3. The handset itself is reassuringly solid and basically just very well built. It's a bit chunky in the bezel area, but because BB10 is so big on gesture control, it means there's room to rest your thumbs without accidentally opening or closing apps. Micro USB and HDMI ports sit on the left and a volume rocker on the right, complete with a button that triggers voice search and acts as play and pause buttons. And it's always good to know micro SD and a removable battery are still an option. Now, its 4.2-inch 1280 by 768 pixel LCD display has a sharper pixel density than the iPhone 5 and Galaxy S3, and the result is a very sharp screen with excellent viewing angles. Colours aren't as saturated as those of the Samsung Galaxy S3's AMOLED display, and the screen can appear dim next to its rivals, but colours are a little more natural, and the screen is perfectly proportioned for comfortable one-handed navigation, even for small-handed users. Now let's talk software. On first impressions, BlackBerry 10 has some nice UI touches like rearrangeable icons, Dropbox, and file manager integration, plus a night mode for the alarm clock. You unlock the Z10 simply by sliding up from the bottom of the display to reveal a home screen of recently used apps. You can even peek at information or a selection of open apps for real-time information on the home screen without unlocking the phone, which we quite like. The live apps or active frames on the home screen are BB10's answer to multitasking. Swiping up from the bottom at any time will take you back to the home screen where you can close or switch between any open apps. It's more intuitive than Android's often unpredictable back button and faster than hitting the physical button of the iPhone 5. It'd be near perfect if the active frames could be rearranged, but for now, they're automatically placed in order of use. Swiping down from the top of the screen brings up an Android-style settings menu, as well as some in-app menus. It's also easy to flick to the BlackBerry Hub, which aggregates all your text, emails, and social network messages into one place. Best of all, you can access the Hub at any time without closing down your current app. BBM has been revamped too, with a new video call feature that lets you share screen and phone content with your contacts in real time. Very impressive. The Z10's Task Manager, BlackBerry Remember, very handily organises flagged files, websites, emails, photos, and documents into one central area. And when it comes to business, BlackBerry Balance separates your phone into two profiles, so personal and work, which sounds ideal, but unfortunately, you need to be an enterprise customer to use it. Then there's the apps. Now, there are apparently 70,000 of them living in BlackBerry world, now with the added bonus of music and movie downloads. And while you'll find some popular downloads, BB10 is still a long way off from rivaling the high-profile apps available on iOS and Android, like YouTube and Netflix and Google Maps. But hopefully, things will improve over time. And talking of maps, the Maps app is a tad disappointing. For starters, we couldn't even get it to connect to the server, so we were unable to test it, and its features are pretty stripped back. Now, moving on, when it comes to typing, the Z10's keyboard is one of the best we've ever used. It can automatically detect what language you're trying to type in and predict words accordingly. And as you type, predicted words appear dotted around the keyboard. Simply flick upwards to use and carry on typing. It's fast, it's clever, just be careful to touch the word exactly and not the nearest letter. Now, disappointingly, there's no physical button to launch the 8-megapixel camera, but it takes photos quickly enough with a simple tap on any part of the screen, or you can use the volume buttons. Now, the camera shows off a good level of colour as well as detail, particularly close up, but low light shots result in plenty of noise. At least 1080p video is largely clear and smooth, just watch out for motion blur. Now, the camera is not particularly feature heavy, so no ISO and exposure settings, but there is a burst mode and a handful of scenes to choose from. But the Z10's party trick is time shift, which lets you literally roll back time to select the perfect smile of your subjects after taking the photo. Altering people's faces individually and stitching them together is impressive as well. Now, when it comes to power, its 1.5 GHz dual-core processor could be considered slow, but coupled with 2 GB of RAM, the Z10 whizzes around BB10 without any hiccups or crashes. It hasn't been entirely stutter-free though, with Angry Birds and streaming video occasionally causing problems. It also takes around 45 seconds to a minute to boot up before preparing the BlackBerry hub. And with a 4.2-inch HD screen to power, we got around 5 hours of intensive use while streaming video over Wi-Fi on full brightness. Obviously, this means its battery will stretch a bit further with normal use. So overall, you're looking at impressive hardware and a very good-looking operating system, but it just needs more apps. That aside, there's plenty to like because BB10 has lots of innovative features, from its superb keyboard to peak functionality to the fantastic time shift, so there's lots of potential. And if BlackBerry eventually builds an iOS rivaling cross-platform experience with all the games, apps and movies we demand, then BlackBerry will certainly deserve another chance.